Chapter 81, S.H.I.E.L.D's Ability Restored. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 81 S.H.I.E.L.D's ability is restored. Who is it? What happened? What happened, that the Ancient One in Imitate, the God King of Asgard Odin Bolson, and that powerful being all had confusion in their eyes, the universe has changed without them noticing. They clearly sense this. How did you do it? Coupled with the two words they heard before the change started, they deeply suspected that this change was man-made. But, who has this power? The Iva and others were confused and surprised, and wanted to know who the person who did such an incredible thing was, while they were taking action to find out what specific changes had taken place and who had caused all this. S.H.I.E.L.D was lying on the ground panting. After calming down for a while, he stood up and looked around. He found that the environment of the primeval forest had not changed much. But the originally clear sky had now turned into darkness. Has it been successful? S.H.I.E.L.D breathed a sigh of relief. Subsequently, he immediately turned his attention to Cassius, or the Cosmic Cube. Now, as long as you obtain the Cosmic Cube, you can restore various abilities and have the ability to protect yourself. After sensing it, he found that Cassius' side was not that far away from here, and he didn't know if it was because of the magic ritual. The next second, he immediately rushed there and notified Cassius to make the next move. Far away, Cassius and several followers had shock on their faces at this moment. This magical ritual was successful. It's incredible. Sky. As mages, they naturally studied and watched the specific information before arranging this magic ritual, but because of this, they had to be shocked. The magical ritual that was still being imagined and almost impossible to complete was actually completed. Cassius and others had to marvel at the power of the demon. Other than because of the other party, they really couldn't figure out how this ritual could be successful. At this time, the voice from the demon sounded in Cassius's head. Destroy the magic ritual and get out of there. You should attract some people's attention. Cassius was shocked when he heard the words and knew that it was not a lie. It was impossible for some powerful beings not to sense the big noise caused here. The next second, he quickly used magic to destroy the magic ritual on the ground. After putting away the cosmic Rubik's Cube, he hurriedly left here with others. Sure enough, not long after they left here, orange sparks lit up nearby, and a portal opened. Wearing a yellow robe, the Supreme Mage Ancient One, with a unique temperament and a bald head, walked out of the portal. Glancing at the surrounding environment, he quickly knew what he was talking about, and a look of shock flashed through his eyes. Which dimension demon can actually do such a thing? Obviously, he knew the function of this magical ritual. After a while, he looked towards the direction Cassius and others fled. Cassius, what have you done? Ancient discovered that Cassius's fate had changed. His fate, which was probably to be devoured by Dormammu, suddenly disappeared and changed inexplicably. Even, Cassius split into many endings in a series, each of which has little connection with the previous one. Even, it changes all the time, and seems to be affected by some external force, causing his ending to change frequently. Gui felt that a layer of fog shrouded his body, making it difficult to judge his outcome. It goes without saying that the cause of all this must be related to the dimensional demon that the other party communicated with. Doubt flashed across Gu's eyes. He felt that it was necessary to find out what Cassius had done during this period. He was meditating here and escaped from Cassius. At this time, he was following the instructions of the devil and placed the cosmic cube in an open space. Shortly after he left, S.H.I.E.L.D's figure appeared here. Is this the cosmic cube? He looked at the ground. The cosmic Rubik's Cube shone with a faint light and lay quietly on the ground. Even after experiencing such horrific consumption, it was no different from before except that the light dimmed a little. Even this dimness is restored visible to the naked eye. Extremely unscientific. Sue, don't get close, I feel it's very dangerous. Venom warned tremblingly. S.H.I.E.L.D naturally knew this. Infinity stones are dangerous things, and approaching them rashly may cause life-threatening danger, even if they are covered with a cosmic cube. The Red Skull, the villain of Team USA, once touched the cosmic cube with his hand and was teleported to outer space. S.H.I.E.L.D hesitated for a moment, and finally decided to touch it with his own hands. In order to restore various abilities, we have to do the same. He stepped close to the Rubik's Cube, squatted down behind him, stretched out his right index finger, and touched it cautiously. If there is an accident, use light to block it. Thinking this way, his fingers touched the cosmic cube. The place where his finger came into contact with the cosmic Rubik's cube immediately glowed with a burst of blue light. The cosmic cube blue light bursts. The boom. A vast blue energy burst out, surrounding Suyao like dust. Suyao didn't expect the commotion to be so big. Suddenly, as if this energy had found some source, it seeped into his body. At this moment, his whole body was surrounded by the blue space energy of the cosmic Rubik's cube. Suyao felt that the Orochi imitation panel that had problems was recovering quickly. Soon, he discovered that all the damage caused by losing control of his abilities had disappeared. At this time, even without the cosmic cube, he can quickly unlock each of his previous abilities with energy points, not to mention, at this moment, under the energy of the cosmic cube, his locked abilities are also being restored one by one, and the level is still the previous level, without any changes. Ability, Black Particles, unlocked. Ability, Rebound Shield, unlocked. Ability, Space Transfer, unlocked. Just when he was about to unlock the next ability, suddenly there was a sound of the portal opening. Suyao glanced out of the corner of his eye, which was covered by a black hood, and was shocked to find that he had a bald head. In just a moment, he recognized who this person was. The Supreme Mage of Karmatage, the Ancient One. Suyao frowned. Obviously, the Supreme Mage must have sensed the energy of the cosmic cube nearby, so he came here to check it out. End of this chapter. Chapter 82, The Third Imitation Object. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 82 The Third Imitation Object. There's some trouble. This thought flashed through Suyao's mind. With his current abilities, there is a high probability that he is no match for this bald man. After all, this Supreme Mage can protect the Earth for hundreds of years and prevent dimensional demons such as Dormammu from invading. I guess he has a lot of tricks that he can't deal with at the moment. The next moment, he had the idea of leaving. As his hand touched the cosmic Rubik's cube, he felt that his ability to shift space was amplified by infinite blessings. Space transfer experience +1. Just as he was about to leave with the cosmic cube, the moment he disappeared, a yellow energy whip grabbed the cosmic cube. With a whoosh, his figure disappeared, but the cosmic cube was left behind. Who are you? Looking at the disappeared man in black, surprise flashed in Gu's eyes. She glanced at the cosmic cube and didn't pay much attention to it. She naturally knew what it was, and she also knew that it was something left here by Odin, the god king of Asgard. At this moment, all her attention was attracted by the mysterious man in black. She could feel that the mysterious man in black was filled with a lot of mysterious energy. She even saw just now that this person was plundering the energy of the cosmic Rubik's cube. Who on earth is he that can do such a thing? What is the relationship between and Cassius? This question popped up in Gu Yi's mind. She was confused here. Suyao appeared in a small town 200 kilometers away, looked at his hand. The cosmic cube was taken away. Suyao frowned. It is obviously only a little bit short, but there is another ability that can be restored. Even if you give it a few more minutes, it is very simple to fully restore it. It's a pity that Gu Yi came out halfway and snatched away the cosmic Rubik's cube. As a result, his current abilities have not been fully restored. Only the three abilities of Black Particles, Rebound Shield, and Space Transfer have been restored. Suyao felt that it was difficult. Getting the cosmic Rubik's cube from Gu Yi was not as simple as getting it from S.H.I.E.L.D. It could even be said that it was almost impossible at the moment. Let's not talk about Ancient One's magical strength. Let's just say that the opponent has the Eye of Agamotto, which is a magical weapon loaded with the Time Stone, one of the Infinity Stones, which makes it even more difficult to deal with. Although using the Time Stone would have adverse effects, the Ancient One would not use it unless absolutely necessary, and even warned Doctor Strange not to use it except in a life-or-death situation. But who knows if she will use this time-controlling artifact if pressed. Suyao frowned and thought for a while, then suddenly thought of something and breathed a sigh of relief. I remember that in S.H.I.E.L.D., there seemed to be some weapons that used the energy of the cosmic cube, such as the energy gun that appeared in Captain America, which could instantly evaporate people with one shot. Perhaps, Cassius can be asked to steal some of these weapons and absorb the energy inside. Suyao's eyes shone slightly. Compared with taking something from Ancient One's hand, it is easier to take it from S.H.I.E.L.D., that is, if you want the horse to run, you must give him some grass. The pie he drew before was not given to Cassius. Suyao pondered, thinking about what ability to lend to the other party. it's too iconic and will not be recognized by others, so the only way is to shift the space and modify the probability. After thinking about it, he decided to lend Cassius the space transfer first, so that the success rate would be higher when he went to S.H.I.E.L.D. to grab things. If you don't want to anymore, you can take this ability back at any time. The next second, his attention focused on Cassius. Dark woods. Cassius and others were feeling uneasy. I don't know if that person's work will be fulfilled. Will that person's promise be fulfilled? Cassius, who was preparing to arrange the communication ceremony, suddenly heard a mysterious voice in his head. There are several ways to resurrect people. The secret treasure of your supreme mage Kamitaji, the Eye of Agamotto, can do it. It can reverse time, and the eternal fire of Asgard. As Suyao told Cassius all the possibilities, a look of shock appeared in his eyes. There are so many ways to resurrect people. But as he listened, he sighed a little. None of these methods would be easy to achieve. Even the Eye of Agamotto is the same. To use the Eye of Agamotto, you must have a pure heart and be approved by it. It will not respond to the orders of the evil wearer. It's not like he hasn't had the idea of using the Eye of Agamotto before, but it obviously failed. As for the other methods mentioned by the devil, they are also difficult to achieve. Great demon god, I can't do any of these methods. Can you give me a simpler method? Cassius begged. There was a pause over there, and then the mysterious sound sounded again. You continue to help me, and when the time comes, I will help you resurrect your wife and children. Suyao is painting a pie. He does not have the ability to resurrect people. At most, he will see if he can help Cassius get the eternal fire later. However, it was obvious that Cassius did not know this and did not feel unusual. Instead, he was a little excited and grateful. He agreed to the plan without even thinking about it. Great demon god, what else do you need me to do? Cassius said respectfully. I need you to go to S.H.I.E.L.D. again to get. Suyao said about grabbing energy guns and other things. Finally, he said something in Cassius's excited mood. Last time I promised you that I would give you power after I arranged the magic ritual. Now I do as you wish. Soon, Cassius felt that he could use an ability based on his mysterious connection with the demon. The next second, he disappeared from where he was and appeared nearly 10 meters away under the surprised gazes of several followers. Space teleportation capability. Cassius was in an excited mood. Even though he knows how to use teleportation, this kind of magic is a bit difficult to use in battle. There is no such convenience as teleportation. It can be said that with this ability, his combat and survivability abilities have improved a lot. It's just that the distance is a bit short. Cassius is a bit regretful. However, this is okay. There are also portals that can make up for the shortcomings and provide long-distance transmission. Cassius was surprised. The 5 followers were envious, and Suyao was relieved. Fortunately, this Cassius does not think too highly of himself and feels that space transfer is not possible. But that's right, as a mage, the ability to transfer space should indeed be very good in his eyes. Or maybe Suyao himself feels that space transfer is a bit weak. Finally, Suyao said the last words in Cassius' excited and expectant eyes. As long as you complete the tasks I assigned you, I can lend you other powers in the future. After saying that, Suyao disconnected and turned his attention to himself. As the Scarlet Witch's panel awakened, Suyao couldn't help but wonder who the next target of imitation would be. He tried to feel as much as he could like last time. Suddenly, the next second, Suyao was in a daze, as if he saw a hazy figure shrouded in light. In a trance, a name appeared in his mind. The god of light, Baldro Dinson. As soon as this name came to mind, Suyao suddenly woke up. It's him, the god of light. Suyao was a little surprised. If you just say the god of light, he might not recognize it, but if the word Odinson is added to the suffix, he will know who it is. In Orthodox Norse mythology, the son of god King Odin and god Queen Frigga, the god of light, Baldr. Born to be sunny and handsome, all the beautiful descriptions in the world can be applied to him without exaggeration. He is very popular and loved by the gods. However, because of his death, the world fell into the twilight of the gods, which started the prelude to the twilight of the gods. His death plunged the world into darkness. The sun lost its heat, strong cold winds blew from all directions, and it fell into the Finnbull. Winter, spring, summer, and autumn are all gone, and the remaining days are cold and dark. Horrid wars broke out in every corner of the world. and moral depravity broke out. Fathers, sons, and brothers kill each other. And people's respect for parents and love for children are ruthlessly disappearing. Instead, everyone is insecure and selfish, and violence and chaos breed and spread. It can be said that as soon as S.H.I.E.L.D, the of light, died, the world lost its warmth and light. Suyao was surprised. The next person you want to imitate is him. He could not imagine what abilities he would gain by imitating him. Furthermore, it's also related to Asgard. It's just a pity that the Scarlet Witch must be unlocked first, but it's coming soon. It shouldn't be long. Suyao was looking forward to it. While he was studying his abilities, time passed quickly, and soon dawn came the next day. Everyone who had just woken up had no idea how everything around them would change when they woke up. Birds chirp. In a luxurious villa, Iron Man Tony Stark slapped Hatcher and walked to the bathroom a little sleepily. "Good morning, sir." The middle-aged man's voice sounded from the artificial intelligence Jarvis. "Good morning, Jarvis." Tony replied casually and was about to start washing. But before he could start, Jarvis's voice continued to ring. "Sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but I have to remind you that just 5 hours ago, something changed in the world." Tony obviously did not realize the seriousness of the matter and casually said, "What can be changed?" As he spoke, he started to wash up, but after Jarvis gave a brief report, Tony Stark's jaw almost dropped. "Wait, what did you say, mutant?" The world has not only undergone a lot of changes, but also what the kind of mutants have appeared. Tony couldn't believe it. He wondered if there was something wrong with Jarvis's system, or if he hadn't woken up yet and was still dreaming. Otherwise, how could he have such an outrageous dream? It simply challenges his scientific thinking. When Jarvis projected the changes that had taken place in various places and the information about mutants in front of him one by one, Tony Stark pinched his thigh and had to accept this in shock. "Show me what these mutants are." Tony Stark waved his right hand and kept scrolling through the data projection in front of him. Finally, after he finished reading it, he began to doubt his life and felt that all the science he had learned was in vain. These mutants can actually use supernatural powers. What is the principle of this? Tony was shocked. "Wait, what is this?" Suddenly, his eyes turned to a news headline. Devil, Messiah among mutants, destroy the city." Tony couldn't believe what he was seeing. Seeking a monthly ticket. Guichio. End of this chapter. Chapter 83, Shocked Iron Man and S.H.I.E.L.D. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 83, Shocked Iron Man and S.H.I.E.L.D. After seeing the information about mutants, Tony was surprised, but deep down he still didn't care too much, confident that he could handle it, until he saw this headline. His face was shocked and solemn. "The devil among mutants, the Messiah." The ability was out of control and a city was destroyed. Tony read this news information, and the more he read it, the more shocked and numb he became. An entire city of things and people was destroyed in this way. To be honest, Tony doubted the authenticity of this news at this moment. If someone can destroy a city, is he still a human being? Until, with the help of Jarvis, he saw a video from not long ago. A young man in black clothes floated high in the sky, his body emitting a rich light. The sun's rays were directly above his head, illuminating the entire city. Tony was a little frightened. Under the light, countless things, including roads, cars, houses, and people, turned into dust particles and dissipated. When everything calmed down, only a big pit and some building debris were left on the spot, and everything else disappeared. At this moment, Tony had to face up to the alien group of mutants. Or in other words, to face up to this mutant boy. This man is really too dangerous. This thought came to his mind, and Tony quickly thought about whether there was any way to counter it and develop something to counter the opponent. While thinking, Tony Stark also had some inquiring thoughts about the boy. What kind of person is he? Why is it possible to do such a thing as destroying a city? Doubts emerged in his mind. Messiah among mutants. Tony is confused here. S.H.I.E.L.D. has already discovered something is wrong. When they listed the anomalies one by one, all the dozen or so agents present were shocked. "Oh my God, it's like we're in a different world. How did these people and things appear suddenly?" Others are okay, the changes are not too serious. What scares them the most is the addition of a group of so-called mutants. Is it an alien race? Nick Fury looked through the information with a solemn expression, and couldn't help but think of a foreign object obelisk that S.H.I.E.L.D. had confiscated. "Most people who touch this thing will die, but there are some who are lucky enough to survive, but without exception, these people have all awakened their superpowers. Their research found that there is a special alien gene in these people. When he first saw the information about mutants, Nick Fury thought they were members of the inhuman race. It was not until he saw subsequent information and videos that he had to overturn this conclusion. Under the gaze of many agents and him, the young man in the sky pointed his finger into space, and then infinite light was released, countless buildings melted under the high temperature, fires covered the entire city, and wails could be heard everywhere. Finally, the whole city turned into dust and scattered under the aftermath of the sun. The sound of inhaling sounds one after another here. Everyone felt horrified. Nick Fury even clenched his hand, one black eye staring intently at the young man high in the sky. He had to admit that compared to the so-called Inhumans, this mutant was a truly terrifying monster, able to do such terrifying things. In a short period of time, an entire city was destroyed. Whether it is the woman at the beginning or the young man who finally destroys the city, each one is extremely terrifying. Nick Fury couldn't help but stretched out his hand and touched a bump in his arms, a black BB machine. This pager is used to call Captain Marvel. Nick Fury is a little unsure whether to call Captain Marvel all the way from outer space. If there was a surprise, he would definitely be able to resist this mutant boy, or even kill him. Nick Fury is very confident in Captain Marvel. This mutant must be controlled. Once out of control, I can't imagine the consequences, he murmured. Nick Fury began to think about how he could capture this mutant boy with minimal casualties, and then control him to prevent him from losing control, or get rid of him. After all, this mutant is too dangerous. Nick Fury really doesn't understand how a mutant's small body can release such terrifying power. He was filled with doubts. At the same time, if nothing can be done, he will decisively call Captain Marvel back to punish this mutant. Please investigate this mutant carefully, find his location, and formulate a solid capture plan. Nick Fury gave the order in a deep voice. One agent immediately responded to the order and began to take action. Several of the agents looked at each other, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. We, Hydra, must get this terrifying weapon. He is ours. Hydra members were equally eager to find the boy who could destroy the city at this moment, and at the same time they analyzed his weaknesses. As long as you are a living creature, you will definitely have weaknesses and carelessness. There can be no invincible people. Former S.H.I.E.L.D. director, secretly hiding undercover Hydra, Alexander Pierce, thought very confidently, as long as you find this mutant boy and successfully capture him, you can carry out a series of brainwashing work and turn him into a terrifying weapon exclusive to their Hydra. At that time, who in the world can resist them? Pierce was a little excited. At the same time, S.H.I.E.L.D. and other major organizations are still secretly investigating to find out who and what caused the world to change and so many abnormalities to appear. While major institutions are taking action, the American people who wake up in the morning will be stunned, especially for people in places like Hell's Kitchen. Today is an even worse day. Who knew that when you wake up, the world becomes more dangerous? Mutant, damn mutants. They couldn't help but feel afraid when they paid attention to the information about the mutants. Especially when they discovered Su Yao's information, they became even more silent. These monsters, especially this freak. Damn it, won't I wake up the next day and be dead? At this moment, they feel insecure as never before. While major organizations are taking action, and even superheroes are taking action, Su Yao is working hard to collect energy points. Under the sunlight, the energy points continue to rise. Light energy +1. Light energy +1. Su Yao also knew that there would definitely be many people looking for him. Looks like I'm going to have to disguise myself a little bit. He threw away the black clothes he had been wearing and decided to find a new one later, and at the same time turned the venom into a black mask, covering most of his face. I just don't know how long it can be delayed. I just hope that my strength can be restored before those people come. I don't know how Cassius is doing, and whether he has obtained those cosmic cube energy weapons. Thinking about this very capable tool man, Su Yao's eyes showed curiosity. The next second, his attention was directed to Cassius. End of this chapter. Chapter 84, Scarlet Witch Panel 70. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 84 Scarlet Witch Panel 70%. Su Yao couldn't help but look surprised as soon as his attention was focused on the connection with Cassius. How long has it been since Cassius got some? On a wooden table, 7 black cosmic cube energy guns were placed. In the center of the gun body, a bright blue light flashes, and the energy stored in it is clearly the energy of the universe Rubik's Cube. At this time, Cassius, who was sitting in front of the chair, was taking something out of a small circle of portals that opened in front of him. Looking carefully, it is a cosmic cube energy gun. Is this the warehouse where these super weapons were found? Suyao's mouth twitched. They planted a mole in S.H.I.E.L.D. Otherwise, how could we find the warehouse storing such dangerous weapons so quickly? Looking at the energy guns on the wooden table, Suyao became a little excited. With these energy guns, the locked ability can definitely be restored a lot. And thinking about it, Cassius should still be able to get a lot of these weapons before S.H.I.E.L.D. finds out. After all, compared to the cosmic cube, this kind of standard weapon, which is more or less available, does not attract much attention. While Cassius was trying to the energy gun from the S.H.I.E.L.D. warehouse, the Supreme Mage Ancient One also figured out a lot of things. Among them, there is the emergence of mutants. Looking at the woman releasing terrifying energy in the picture, and the young man in black who released light in the sky and easily destroyed a city, Guyi's expression was slightly solemn, and his attention was raised by 3 points. At the same time, she also noticed some familiarity, and quickly recognized the young man in black in the sky, who should be the mysterious man in black whom she had contacted not long ago. However, after that, she didn't care anymore. Compared to the dimensional demon god, she doesn't want to interfere with matters inside the earth. During this time, she also figured out what Cassius had done. Is this the devil? Guyi looked at an ancient book that introduced this demon god, and his face gradually became serious. At the same time, she was also a little confused about the purpose of this demon god. What exactly does he want to do? Why did you do that feat? How does this benefit him? Unable to understand, Guyi decided to communicate in person. She skillfully arranged the magic ritual, and soon she contacted this mysterious existence. She asked, "Unknown demon god, what is your purpose and why do you want to cause such a big incident?" Suyao, who was observing Cassius, was startled when he heard Guyi's voice. Following the connection of magic rituals, he naturally saw the Supreme Mage Ancient One wearing a yellow robe. Facing her question, Suyao's eyes flickered and he quickly thought about how to answer the other party. Soon, a mysterious sound like Sanskrit reached Guyi's ears. Just think of it as boring and have no purpose. But you, a supreme mage who relies on absorbing the power of the dark dimension to survive, like to take care of my affairs. Guyi, whose face was only slightly solemn at first, suddenly changed his expression. This unknown demon actually noticed it. Suyao naturally knew this kind of thing. In the movie, Cassius once had a complete collapse of his outlook on life because of the ancient mage absorbing the energy of the dark dimension to delay his life. This was also the last straw that led him to seek refuge in Dormammu. Of course, things are not what Cassius thought. The Supreme Mage draws the power of the dark dimension not just to extend his life, in order to protect the earth for a long time and prevent it from being invaded by existences from outer dimensions, that is, beings like Dormammu. She had to draw the power of the dark dimension to extend her life, and in order to wait for her successor. And drawing on the power of the dark dimension will not be so pleasant. Not only must one endure the erosion of the body by dark forces, but one must also resist the temptations from dark forces, always struggling between light and darkness. This kind of mental exhaustion and struggle is not something ordinary people can endure. Cassius, for example, did not have such a firm will, and fell into darkness in a short period of time, becoming a fanatical believer in Dormammu, the next successor. Doctor Strange once asked Ancient One why he wanted to absorb the power of darkness, but Master Ancient One said that people can't just care about themselves. After Doctor Strange appeared, she gave up on absorbing the power of the dark dimension. At the same time, she was also afraid that one day she would be swallowed by the power of darkness and bring unnecessary disaster to the world. In the end, she chose relief and ended the pain and suffering in a hasty way, like falling from a high building. The mysterious sound like Sanskrit music continued to ring in Guyi's ears. All actions are impermanent, all dharmas have no self, and all feelings are suffering. Nothing in the world is eternal, and nothing is fixed. Everything must be baptized by suffering. Supreme Mage Ancient One, you have suffered enough. If you choose to take refuge in me, I will give you strength and life, freeing you from the erosion and pain of dark forces. Hearing the mysterious sounds in his ears, Master Guyi not only did not feel relaxed, but his expression became more serious. Just a few words made her feel that this demon became even more terrifying. Like Dormammu, there is no way he could say such a thing. The next second, Su-Yao felt that the connection was disconnected. It was Master Gu Yi who took the initiative to cancel the ceremony. Su-Yao was a little regretful, but not surprised. To be honest, what he just said was half truth and half lie, but in terms of surrendering to give strength and life, he was not telling a lie. Compared with absorbing the power of the dark dimension, whether it is the light energy or chaos magic in him, it is more suitable for any mage, especially light energy, which is not only positive, but is even suspected of being able to sustain life. After all, I suffer from several types of cancer, and I can rely on light energy to prolong my life. I also know that light energy is not as simple as it seems, Su-Yao pondered, but he has a long-term view and catches big fish. It doesn't matter whether he gets a harvest or not. A harvest is the best, and he can accept it without him. While he was basking in the sun and collecting light energy, time passed quickly, and soon it was the morning of the third day. The bright morning sun shines, and the morning dew smell is thick. Inside a dilapidated wooden house, following the dim light, you can see about 20 black energy guns placed on the table. These are the results of the efforts of Cassius and others during this period. If S.H.I.E.L.D. hadn't discovered it early, the warehouse would have been emptied. Although S.H.I.E.L.D. still has a lot of this kind of weapon, it will be more difficult to get it next. S.H.I.E.L.D. has sent heavy troops to guard it, and it will probably take Cassius careful planning to continue to obtain it. In the past 2 days, Cassius has also been planning. Su-Yao stretched out his hand and put it on an energy gun. Soon, the space energy in the gun rioted, and he was instantly attracted by the snakes. Ability, blue energy light flashed, and strands of it crawled onto Su-Yao's palm and quickly entered his body. As soon as the energy of this gun was absorbed, an ability that was about to be restored was quickly unlocked. Ability, Divine Finger, unlocked. The prompt sound. Su-Yao looked at the other 20 energy guns. As time goes by, energy guns are absorbed one after another. Ability, Spiritual Power Beam, unlocked. Ability, Soul Removal, unlocked. A series of prompts sounded. In the end, only the sunshine and the floating flight were left to be restored. Hey, why can't these guns have more energy? Su-Yao felt a little pity when he looked at the more than 20 cosmic cube energy guns that had been sucked dry. The 2 most critical abilities have not been restored. Then, his attention turned to the Scarlet Witch's panel. Energy point, 39573, unlock progress 31%. With nearly 40,000 energy points, I don't know how much the Scarlet Witch's imitation progress can be improved. Su-Yao Yuan showed her expectation. Can the most critical chaos magic be unlocked? What changes will happen to the body? The next second, he added all the energy points to the unlocking progress. The unlocking progress of 31% was blurred and suddenly changed. Unlock progress 70%. At the same time, a prompt sounded in Su-Yao's surprised eyes. Ability, Chaos Magic, unlocked. Ability, Chaos Magic, 0 out of 100, level 1. Just for a moment, he felt something strange in his body. A familiar warm current appeared and quickly flowed throughout his body, and the cell genes were changing. In a short period of time, his genetic cells became more mysterious, and more mysterious powers resided in them. Ouch, what happened? Venom screamed and crawled out of his right hand, with a look of shock on his face. Just now, Su's body changed again. He didn't know if it was his imagination, but he found that Su's body was even more mysterious. Just staying in his body for a moment, he felt that his whole body's strength had increased a lot. As Su's body became more mysterious, he who resided in Su's body also became much stronger. The most obvious thing is that the venom suit formed by the venom is estimated to be able to perfectly resist human pistol and rifle bullets. Perhaps, now only specially made armor-piercing and armor-breaking bullets can break through his defense. Venom is very confident. Now he is much stronger than that stupid half-body. The accumulation during this period is enough for him to defeat the opponent. If we meet again, I will definitely give you a surprise. Venom was shocked and delighted at the same time. Su-Yao didn't care about him and just felt the abnormality of his body. He only felt that his nerves were very active at this moment. In human terms, his thinking was active and energetic, and his reaction to things was much faster. Is this spiritual power? Su-Yao could feel that there seemed to be a force in his head. It's just that this power is a bit weak, and there is a feeling that there is no place to use it. Of course, although it is a little weak. Having and not having are two concepts. Like before, even if other people with mental abilities used their mental abilities on him, he might not be able to detect it. Now, with this spiritual power, you can completely resist and notice attacks from other people with spiritual abilities. Even as the level of chaos magic increases, the spiritual power is likely to increase as well. Ignoring these changes for the time being, S.H.I.E.L.D. focused on a mysterious force within his body. Raising his right hand, he tried to mobilize the mysterious power in his body. Is this chaos magic? S.H.I.E.L.D. murmured. At this moment, a red light appeared on his right hand. End of this chapter. Chapter 85, Chaos Magic Level 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 85 Chaos Magic Level 3. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s right hand glowed red. The next second, the black pistols originally placed on the table floated together. They move irregularly in the air. Chaos Magic Experience +1. S.H.I.E.L.D. was thoughtful while controlling them to float. It seems that the power of the first level is a bit weak. He could clearly feel that floating so many guns was already a bit troublesome. Maybe a dozen more guns would be floated at most, which should be almost the limit. In addition to controlling objects with mind power, S.H.I.E.L.D. did not find any other differences in chaos magic. I don't know if I can use chaos magic to use psychic abilities. S.H.I.E.L.D. remembered that in the early days, at a very close distance, chaos magic could confuse people's minds, create illusions in the other person's mind, and so on. However, there is currently only one stunned Venom left in the room. And there is no target for him to test. Venom's resistance to psychic abilities is almost full, so he can't test it to any effect. Bang bang bang, putting down the guns, S.H.I.E.L.D. frowned slightly and tried to modify reality. The next second, his hands emitted red light, and the red light enveloped the table. However, to his disappointment, the table did not change for a while. The level of chaos magic is too low. S.H.I.E.L.D. was a little disappointed, but then he felt that it made sense. If level 1 chaos magic could do this, Wanda wouldn't be such a waste in the early stage. Of course, it may also have something to do with the fact that modifying reality can only be activated when emotions are out of control, and it is a passive ability. Forget it, don't think about it anymore. Let's improve the level of chaos magic first. Chaos Magic Experience +1. Chaos Magic Experience +1. Chaos Magic Experience +1. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s hands glowed red and he immediately started practicing chaos magic. In the following time, things in the house kept flying up one by one. Chaos Magic Experience +1. Since he was only at the first level and the light energy in his body was sufficient, it didn't take long for the prompt to sound. Chaos Magic Experience +1. Ability. Chaos Magic, 0 out of 500, Level 2. As the Chaos Magic reached the second level, S.H.I.E.L.D. could feel that the upper limit of light energy in his body had increased a little more, and the sunlight shining in from outside the window was constantly being absorbed by him. At the same time, the upper limit of Chaos Magic's ability to control objects has been increased, and it can now lift objects weighing hundreds of kilograms. The most vivid thing is that it can easily lift an adult with chaos magic. The second level is still a bit weak, but the mental strength has increased a lot. S.H.I.E.L.D. could feel that his brain was more active, and the jerky feeling of wielding chaos magic was reduced and became much smoother. A group of red light flickered in his hand, and then the next second, the red light was thrown to the center of the wooden table. With a bang, a hole was blown out of the wooden table, barely. S.H.I.E.L.D. was a little dissatisfied and continued to practice chaos magic. Time passed, and it was the morning 2 days later. The prompt sounds, Chaos Magic Experience +1. Ability, Chaos Magic, 0 out of 1000, Level 3. S.H.I.E.L.D. flicked it casually, and in Venom's surprised eyes, a red light flashed, and the entire wooden table fell apart, and even a pit appeared on the ground. The next second, his hands flashed with the red light exclusive to chaos magic, and then his whole body flew up under the power of chaos magic. Sure enough, S.H.I.E.L.D. tried it and found that the speed was not as good as floating flying, and the consumption was about the same as when using controlled objects. It was much more expensive than the constant state of floating flying. Forget it, it can be used barely. At least there is a usable flying method until floating flight is restored. Sensing the growing light energy in his body, S.H.I.E.L.D. murmured, "It's time to leave here. That I have been staying in this house for several days. If I don't leave, someone will probably come to my door." Sue, are you finally leaving this boring place? Venom was a little excited. S.H.I.E.L.D nodded, disappeared into the house in a flash. 2 hours later, S.H.I.E.L.D was walking on a remote path. At this time, he had changed his outfit. In order to prevent others from recognizing him, he deliberately chose to wear white this time, including white clothes, white pants, white masks, and even white shoes. As for Venom, he turned into a black eye patch mask, butterfly-shaped, somewhat similar to the masks of Wolverine and S.H.I.E.L.D in the comics. There is no other way. S.H.I.E.L.D is too lazy to think of a mask style, so he can only use it. Suddenly, there was a burst of rapid footsteps from the front, accompanied by a loud roar. Stop, mutant in front, raise your hands and stand still. I saw 2 men and 1 woman running in front, and behind them were 4 policemen with guns. Get out of the way quickly. A young woman with magenta hair and light green eyes who was running ahead was reminding S.H.I.E.L.D in front of him with a frightened look on her face. S.H.I.E.L.D frowned slightly and was about to step away, but at this moment, a white policeman among the 4 policemen chasing him lowered his head and glanced at a palm-sized monitor. The next second, he shouted at the strange man standing not far away, dressed in white, with his face covered by a white hood and mask, "Don't let him go, he is also a mutant." What? Whether it was the 3 people who asked S.H.I.E.L.D to get out of the way or the other 3 policemen, their eyes flashed with surprise. Forget about them. The crowds of spectators who were watching the arrest through cameras were also a little surprised. Subsequently, tens of thousands of spectators became excited. Since the horrific light incident a few days ago, not only society but also the government's attitude toward mutants has changed. Not only has it not gotten better, but it has become worse. The government began to send people to arrest mutants. In order to stabilize people's hearts and make the people believe that mutants can be defeated, many arrest operations were broadcast live, and this time was no exception. Seeing another variant appearing in front of them, the audience was relieved from the fear of these days, and their faces showed excitement. God bless, finally there is another mutant. It seems that the police officers have yet another achievement. Hurry, catch him quickly. Just when the audience was looking forward to it, the 4 policemen looked at each other, immediately raised the special pistols in their hands, and started shooting with S.H.I.E.L.D. Bang bang bang, one after another. Small injection syringes carrying mutant inhibitors were shot towards S.H.I.E.L.D. quickly. However, just when the 3 people flashing their eyes showed panic and the police and the audience looked expectant, the needles actually stayed in the air. What? End of this chapter. Chapter 86, Shocked Audience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 86, Shocked Audiences. What? It stopped. What happened? The 4 policemen looked stunned, and the tens of thousands of spectators were equally astonished. The 3 of them were stunned with a flash of panic. At this moment, a red light appeared on the right hand of the man in white. This is mutant abilities. What kind of ability is this? Telepathy. The audience reacted and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. They thought something had happened, but it turned out to be a mutant ability. As long as it is revealed, this ability looks like the ability to control objects with thoughts, so it shouldn't be that scary. Just because this person can control his gaze on the needle does not mean he can control the metal bullet. The kinetic energies of the 2 are fundamentally different. During this period, both the police and the audience have seen many strange abilities. It is not like they have never seen something like this that startled them at the beginning, but without exception, they were all arrested in the end. The audience is full of confidence. S.H.I.E.L.D raised his head and glanced at the transparent needles frozen in the air. In just a moment, he knew what it was, an injection that could suppress the abilities of mutants. He waved his hand. The next second, the needles turned around, and then flew towards the police officer with a whoosh sound. Hide. Quickly. The 4 police officers were startled and wanted to dodge, but unfortunately the needles seemed to have locked onto them, and it was useless no matter how they tried to dodge. Puff puff puff, the needle was inserted into their bodies. Fortunately, this is specifically aimed at mutants and has no effect on them. The police officers breathed a sigh of relief. They reacted quickly and raised the real thing they had just taken out, and fired bang 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 in the direction of S.H.I.E.L.D. The 3 people were startled by the flashing light not far away. This is a real gun. Then, a scene that surprised them appeared. The 8 or 9 bullets were also frozen in mid-air. Among the 4 policemen, one of the white policemen, Donald, saw that the bullets had no effect and hurriedly threw the thing hanging from his waist. A black round thing streaked across the air, boom. Along with the violent explosion, the fire enveloped Su-Yao. At this moment, both the police officers and the tens of thousands of spectators breathed a sigh of relief. This is a specially made bomb that can even blow through steel doors. It is specially used to deal with mutants who are difficult to deal with and can pose a life-threatening threat to police officers, shocking the three of them. There was also a scene that surprised others. After the fire, the man in white was still standing on the same spot, completely unscathed. A ball of red light enveloped him, and it seemed that it was because of this ball of red light that the bomb did not hurt him. This mutant's ability can actually resist bombs. Before the police and the audience could recover, Su-Yao waved his hand, and the remains of the bullets fired before were fired at the four policemen one after another. Screams broke out all of a sudden, and four policemen fell to the ground struggling. Su-Yao stepped forward slowly, crouched down and approached the fallen policeman with his right hand. What are you going to do? Don't want. Ignoring their frightened shouts, a ray of red light flashed on Su-Yao's hand, and then penetrated into their heads. He tried to activate his psychic abilities to induce the things they feared most in their hearts. Soon, the four police officers' eyes became horrified, as if they had seen the most terrifying thing in their lives. Su-Yao was thoughtful. Are you hallucinating? He put his hand on the forehead of one of the policemen, and psychic power entered his heart. In the dark night, in an old and dilapidated villa, Su-Yao saw this man being chased by a female ghost. During the process, the man's face was full of horror, afraid of ghosts. Deep down in his heart, is this person afraid of ghosts? This is interesting. Su-Yao found it interesting and entered the heads of three other policemen. Two of them were afraid of something that was nothing unusual, but the other policeman was startled by what he was afraid of. In the illusion, I saw a very familiar man in black floating high in the sky, watching all the ants below him indifferently. The next second, the light that destroyed everything enveloped everything. No, monster, monster. This policeman cowered on the ground with a look of horror on his face, shouting repeatedly. Su-Yao was startled. Deep down in his heart, is this person afraid of me? The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. Is it so scary that the policeman could be frightened like this? After experiencing a little bit of psychic abilities, Su-Yao did not continue. However, even though he let go, the tens of thousands of netizens who watched all this through the drone camera, as well as the three flashes, looked at him like a monster. Especially when they saw the four policemen who had woken up, their faces turned pale and frightened, and they screamed in fear. The look in their eyes at Su-Yao became even weirder. What did he do? Following the demon that glowed and destroyed the city last time, another powerful mutant appeared. The audience also felt frightened, and they felt increasingly uneasy about mutants, and at the same time they were jealous. At this time, there was a sound of footsteps in the distance, and suddenly 5 more policemen rushed over. Su-Yao frowned and glanced at the 4 people lying on the ground. The next second, a ball of red light enveloped them, and then they were violently thrown towards the 5 people in the distance. Ah! For a time, there were shouts of exclamation, and 5 policemen in the distance fell to the ground. Before leaving, Su-Yao noticed a strange movement in the sky, and a red light instantly condensed in his right hand. With a flick of his hand, with a bang, the drone that was filming in the sky crashed immediately. After one last glance at the police in the distance, Su-Yao left quickly, before his strength recovered. He didn't want to cause too much trouble, so he had no choice but to break the jar and directly test the chaos magic. Looking at his leaving figure, the 3 of them looked at each other and hurriedly followed him. Su-Yao frowned slightly when he heard the footsteps. He glanced at the 3 of them and his eyes stayed on Shuang for a moment longer. He recognized who the young girl was. Red hair and green eyes are rare, especially since the length is somewhat similar to a certain Bing Bing. Obviously, this person is Flicker in the X-Men, that is, the female mutant who opened the portal in Days of Future Past, but was stabbed to death by the Ghost Sentry robot in the end. And this Flash in front of me looks relatively young. Hey, wait for us. The white young man among the 3 people shouted hurriedly. Su-Yao slowed down a little, wanting to see what they were going to say. Green eyes flashed, and he said expectantly, now is a dangerous time. We are all mutants. We should help each other and unite with each other so that we can resist the coming crisis. Your power is very good. Are you interested in joining our group? Su-Yao shook his head. He was fixed in a position waiting to be found. He didn't think that when he was found, these people would be able to withstand the siege of the sentry robots. End of this chapter. Chapter 87, Arrests by Government Forces. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 87, The Arrest Operation by Government Forces. Seeing his refusal, the three of them were a little disappointed and tried to persuade him again. After seeing that he really had no intention of joining, they stopped trying and started chatting. Himwen sighed, with a faint look of anger on his face. Those people have gone too far. They will do anything to catch us. After telling a little bit about them, he blinked and sighed unwillingly. It would be great if the mutant messiah was here. If he were here, those people would not dare to cause trouble for us. The white young man Al said angrily. Yes, if he were the messiah, he would definitely give those guys a good look. You think so too, right? Wait a minute, you don't know the messiah, do you? Is there any mutant who doesn't know him now? Looking at Su Yao's strange expression, Al frowned. As he spoke, he admired, that is an Omega-level mutant, one that can easily destroy a city. He is among us mutants. I said, man, as a mutant, how can you not know him? You didn't come out of the deep mountains and old forests, right? Listening to his endless chatter and the echoes of the two flashes, Su Yao's expression became even weirder. Ahem, you're right. What he can do is just agree. Finally, before parting, the three of them said that if they had no place to go, they could go find them. At the same time, if there is news about the Messiah, I also beg him to tell them, just like a little fanboy or a little fangirl. Su Yao responded vaguely, then shook his head and walked away alone. They separated here, but what happened not long ago did not end so quickly. Things did not simply stop as Su Yao thought. On the contrary, the video footage of his action was uploaded all over the internet and attracted the attention of many people. How can you solve so many people so easily? Who is this? Another powerful mutant? This weirdo in white has very powerful mutant abilities. When will the government catch him? We don't want to see another freak who destroyed a city. We must deal with it. Netizens are talking a lot, and everyone is more or less afraid, especially because this red glowing mutant looked very powerful, which made them even more intolerable. In addition to ordinary people noticing Su Yao, mutants also saw this video. Emit red light. What is this ability? Telekinesis. In X-Men, Cyclops Scott stared at the scene in the video with doubts in his eyes. When Stormgirl Aurora on the side heard this, she shook her head and said, "No, Scott, please pay attention to the way he condenses red light on his hand and blasts the drone. This does not look like pure telekinesis." Professor X Charles nodded. This mutant has other psychic abilities. He pulled up the progress bar and pointed at the scene where the man in white controlled 4 policemen. Are they hallucinating? Cyclops Scott quickly guessed it and couldn't help but comment, he has great potential. Professor X, Storm and others on the side all saw it and agreed with his evaluation. I really didn't expect that a similar person with good strength would appear so soon. Although it is not as good as the Omega Mutant Messiah, it is still very good. Judging from his abilities, his potential is extraordinary. I guess we could invite him and make him one of our X-Men. The X-Men proposed it, and this was quickly recognized by Professor X, who felt that this person could indeed be recruited into the X-Men. At this time, Wolverine Logan in the crowd suddenly asked, "Hey, One-Eyed Dragon, do you have any clues about that little guy Sue?" Cyclops Scott glanced at him. "No, we're looking for it." "Okay." Wolverine Logan shrugged helplessly. In the crowd, Chris, who was tall, looked at Professor X and others with hesitation on his face. He was thinking about whether to tell Professor X and others the identity of the child they were discussing here, and the Brotherhood of Mutants also discovered this new mutant. The Fireman, Toad and others looked surprised. Not bad. Magneto King Eric praised. Do you want to invite him? Mystique Raven asked. Like the X-Men, they also feel that the man in white is very good in terms of strength and potential. Although he is not as good as the Omega Mutant, he is still very powerful among mutants. Without exception, they also paid attention to this person. If there were any clues about him later, they would definitely send him an invitation to join the Brotherhood and fight against humans together. In addition to ordinary people and mutants noticing Su Yao, several government departments also noticed him. In S.H.I.E.L.D., Nick Fury's one eye flashed, thinking about whether there was any possibility of this person being cleared, and whether he could be allowed to join the Avengers team. After a while, he felt a difficulty. This person's identity might be unacceptable to the people. He decided to observe for a while. If this guy with pretty good abilities doesn't have a bad character, then try to clear his name. If he does have a bad character, then their laboratory still lacks a lot of experimental subjects. The Hydra organization hidden by S.H.I.E.L.D, also known as the terrorist organization, also noticed S.H.I.E.L.D. It's a pretty good weapon. Pierce praised. Soon, the task of arresting the man in white was arranged. Although the importance of this man in their eyes is lower than that of the mutant messiah, there are still many people sent out. In their opinion, this man is also a good brainwasher. Even after capturing the brainwashed person, you can try to use this person's psychic abilities to control the terrifying mutant messiah. If successful, they will make a lot of money. When the time comes to control the terrifying messiah, who else can resist them? The Snake S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau is making up its mind. Alessandro, the director of Base 23, is watching the video with Dr. Bolivar. Dr. Bolivar, how is the production of the Sentinel robot going? Base Director Alessandro asked. Dr. Bolivar lowered his head and worked in front of the computer for a while and said, more than 400 have been produced so far. So many. Alessandro's eyes lit up and he asked with interest, Doctor, tell me, can we kill the Messiah with these sentry robots? Dr. Bolivar was stunned when he heard this, and said subconsciously, it's impossible. With his power to destroy the city, our chances of winning are very small, unless we have more sentry robots. End of this chapter. Chapter 88, Scarlet Witch Panel 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 88 Scarlet Witch Panel 100%, listening to his analysis, Base Commander Alexandro shook his head. Doctor, have you ever considered that the Messiah may not be as powerful as we think? What's the meaning? Destroying a city is not strong enough. Dr. Bolivar was a little stunned. Chief Alessandro Base explained, of course, I'm not saying that the Messiah is not strong enough. I want to say that his lasting power may not be as long as we think. After several observations and studies, I found that once the Messiah uses that light that destroys everything, he will definitely retreat. What does this mean? Doctor, I think you should understand. Upon hearing this, Dr. Bolivar understood everything instantly. His eyes lit up. You mean? Yes, we can send out sentry robots in batches to keep killing that guy. If what you guessed is true, then this must be a very good idea. Dr. Bolivar walked around the laboratory with excitement in his eyes. At this moment, he seemed to have seen the so-called Messiah die in the hands of his favorite work, the Sentinel robot. Thinking about it, he murmured, there are too few sentry robots now, but we don't have much funding anymore. Alessandro smiled slightly and said, don't worry, Doctor, I think those congressmen will definitely take the initiative to grant us a large amount of funds. There will only be more and more Sentinel robots. Dr. Bolivar heard what he said and agreed with him. As long as they don't want to live in fear of the Messiah, they will definitely try their best to get rid of him. Of course, although he has a solid plan this time, he still has to do something for greater certainty. He said, I need you to go to X Academy and help me catch the girl named Anna. She can absorb the abilities and vitality of other mutants through contact and use those abilities. This person has been a great help to me in perfecting the Sentinel robot. With her, we will be more confident in countering the Messiah. Dr. Bolivar looked solemn. Base Commander Alessandro was stunned and nodded. He also noticed that this generation of Sentinel robots had some flaws. Apart from the ability to change body shape, many of its abilities could not be replicated. Perhaps, with that girl named Anna, everything will change. When the time comes, he will want to see how the Messiah can resist them. No matter how powerful he is, can he still defeat the countless sentry robots? Your final outcome is to become an experiment in my laboratory, whether dead or alive. Alessandro smiled. In addition to planning to deal with the mutant Messiah, this mysterious man in white also attracted their attention. Not long after, at the request of the government department, 10 sentry robots from the factory were dispatched to capture the white-clothed mutant. While major organizations are taking action, S.H.I.E.L.D. is hiding and absorbing sunlight, hoping to increase the unlocking progress of Scarlet Witch to 100% as soon as possible. he is somewhat curious and looking forward to what will happen to the Scarlet Witch after reaching 100%. Time passed quickly, and it was soon noon on the 5th day. What is approaching? Su-Yao, who sensed danger approaching, couldn't help but look at the panel. Energy point, 79631, unlock progress 70%. Glancing at the energy points, Su-Yao thought, I don't know how much progress can be made. The next second, he added all the energy points to the unlocking progress. 70% of the unlocking progress was blurred and suddenly changed. Unlock progress 100%. Energy point, 1951. Is this 100%? There's still some left. Su-Yao had a look of surprise in his eyes. The last 30% of Orochi took him a lot of time. He thought it would be about 90 or so at most this time, but he didn't expect it to be full. The next second, he had no time to think anymore, because changes in his body interrupted his thinking. Warmth flowed throughout his body, and the genes in his body became more and more complex unknowingly. Boom! A red light emerged from around him and spread several meters away. Su-Yao's eyes, which turned golden after being exposed to sunlight, gradually turned red. 2 dots of scarlet flashed in the pupils. Ability, Chaos Magic, 0 out of 2000, Level 4. Ability, Modification Probability, 0/1000, Level 3. Su-Yao felt that his whole body was full of strength at this moment, and his nerves were extremely active, as if he could do anything. At the same time, he found that the ability to modify probability seemed to be more deeply integrated with chaos magic. The modification probability and chaos magic have been upgraded by 1 level. Su-Yao clearly felt that the power contained in chaos magic had increased dramatically. He even suspected that the strength at this moment was very close to that of Avengers 4. Scarlet Witch was in a mad state and could tear apart Thanos alone without a gem. You must know that he was Thanos. Even if he didn't have any gems at the time, he was not something ordinary people could deal with. He was able to smash Captain America's vibranium shield with a broadsword, which shows his strength, and the madman's Scarlet Witch almost killed the opponent with his hands. Furthermore, Su-Yao estimated that the upper limit of chaos magic ability would fluctuate with his emotions, and his estimate of his own strength might be inaccurate. Chaos magic experience +1. A ball of red light enveloped the ground. With a bang, Venom was surprised, and a large pit of 2 to 3 meters appeared, and mud and rocks floated into the air. Su-Yao felt extremely relaxed and didn't exert much strength at all. The movement paused for a moment, and he did not continue the test because Venom sensed that danger was approaching. Pay attention. Venom said solemnly. Su-Yao nodded, and while he was vigilant in the remote alley, he was slightly distracted and paid attention to his body. The light energy in the body is increasing with the sun's irradiation. He speculated that the light energy at this moment should be able to display level 3 abilities more than 100 times, and level 4 abilities around 80 times. Of course, chaos magic is calculated based on duration, which is generally the same. The light energy is still not enough. Su-Yao couldn't help but complain. While he was alert to his surroundings, in the distant sky, 10 well-armed soldiers, followed by 10 sentry robots, were approaching here quickly. Over their heads, several drones were floating in the air, and cameras were clearly filming the arrest. Netizens discussed excitedly. 10 sentry robots. Let's see how that weirdo in white escapes. Definitely dead. After all, he is not the mutant messiah. Another powerful mutant is dying. Netizens were discussing the matter enthusiastically, and the mutants watching the live broadcast felt worried and scared. During this period, they privately nicknamed the Man in White the Man in White. If the Man in White dies, it will be their turn soon, so they were worried about the White Man, and at the same time they were afraid of what would happen to everyone after the White Man died. This battle, the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants are also watching the battle, and at the same time they have vaguely anticipated the outcome. No one knows the power of the sentry robots better than them. Not everyone is a mutant messiah and can defeat the sentry robot so easily. To normal mutants, the sentry robot is a monster and a nemesis. A book, time travel to 2004, Gao Huaijuan took over a factory that was about to go bankrupt. Hand in hand with the latest technology, he will start in the field of electrical appliances and move into electronics, chips, automobiles, finance, energy, artificial intelligence and other related fields. End of this chapter. Chapter 89, Another Level 4 Mutant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 89. Another Level 4 Mutant, under the worried gazes of hundreds of thousands of spectators, including the X-Men, Brotherhood of Mutants, and Flicker, a mysterious man dressed in white was seen from a distance. Unfortunately, no matter what Flicker and other mutants thought, they could only watch the sentry robot approach the man in white, and then surround and kill him. They could do nothing. As for the audience, they are looking forward to it. They want to see the sentry robot and get rid of this powerful mutant who has emerged recently. Soon, the two sides were 10 meters apart, looking at each other from a distance. S.H.I.E.L.D looked at these sentry robots, frowning slightly, feeling a little unsure. He is a little unsure whether the current chaos magic can solve these sentry robots that can fly, change body materials, and emit laser beams from their heads. In the distance, 10 soldiers stood with guns in their hands. They did not choose to approach or attack, but chose to leave everything to the sentry robots, who beat them. The next second, 10 sentry robots flew in the direction of S.H.I.E.L.D, and their heads opened and lit up, as if they were preparing to fire lasers. S.H.I.E.L.D frowned slightly and his hands glowed red. Then, he slowly flew up in the eyes of the audience and the mutants. At the same time, a looming red shield appeared around him. S.H.I.E.L.D grabbed one of the sentry robots from the air with his right hand and swung it towards the other sentry robots. With a bang, 5 of the sentry robots were knocked around and their laser firing was interrupted. As for the remaining 4, the lasers on their heads have been fired. At this moment, the audience's eyes showed anticipation. Look how he hides. This is a high-energy laser. This weirdo in white is terrible. However, what surprised and shocked them was that the white man only raised his left hand slightly. Red light flashed around him, and the shield seemed to become thicker. Boom! 4 laser beams hit the red shield. The next second, the shield they thought was broken did not appear. The shield actually blocked the laser attack of the 4 sentry robots. What? Is his ability so strong? Whether it was the hundreds of thousands of spectators or the mutants, everyone looked surprised at this moment. They had thought that the white-clothed mutant was pretty good, but they never thought that he could block 4 laser beams. If it were a normal mutant, it would probably be cool by now. S.H.I.E.L.D was constantly knocked backwards by the laser shock. Seeing that the energy shield was blocking it and there was no sign of being unable to hold on, he immediately raised his right hand and aimed at the sentry robot at the front. Red light enveloped it. The black sentry robot also reacted quickly and immediately changed its form according to the calculation program. The skin, which was like fish scales, quickly turned silver, clearly taking the form of a steel man. In this state, the hardness of its entire body is second only to adamantium alloy, which is also the hardness of Wolverine's metal skeleton. Seeing the Sentinel robot transform into this state, the surprised audience couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Finally changed. This sentry robot is now invincible. Yes, except for the mutant messiah, I have never seen anyone who can break through its defenses, and this weirdo in white is no exception. I really look forward to seeing how this mutant will be scared to death later. While the audience was talking enthusiastically, the X-Men, members of the Brotherhood of Mutants, and many mutants were getting angry. S.H.I.E.L.D frowned, and while resisting the lasers of other sentry robots, he started to exert force with his right hand. Jump, jump, jump. Immediately, the body of the silver sentry robot in the distance began to twist, and there was an unpleasant sound of steel turning. S.H.I.E.L.D used his right hand hard. Jump, jump, jump. A scene that shocked countless people appeared. I saw the silver sentry robot, its hands, feet, and head being twisted away by the red light. As the fire light flickered, the sentry robot fell heavily to the ground like scrap metal. Just like, it is not made of steel, but made of wood, and the steel body has almost no hindrance. The audience was dumbfounded and thought they had seen it wrong. This is a body of steel, torn to pieces like this? How powerful must the red light be? Impossible. Glancing at the scrapped sentry robot, S.H.I.E.L.D was a little surprised, but not too surprised. His current chaos magic strength is very close to the Scarlet Witch in Avengers 4. The Scarlet Witch of that period could directly break Thanos' sword with the help of chaos magic. You know, Thanos' sword can smash Captain America's vibranium shield with force. There is no curling edge, which shows how hard the sword is. Although the steel state of these sentry robots is hard enough, it is definitely not as strong as Thanos' sword. Although he spent a lot of effort in the process, he finally tore the thing apart. Su-Yao frowned slightly and increased the output of chaos magic to resist the lasers from many sentry robots. Glancing at the wall not far away, he raised his right hand, and the entire wall collapsed and he pulled it over, and then threw it towards the sentry robot. Boom, 3 sentry robots were collided and buried by the wall, and they couldn't care about this side for the time being. Su-Yao turned his attention to the 2 sentry robots still standing. Red light enveloped them. Under the dull gazes of countless spectators, Su-Yao slowly exerted force with his right hand. Their hands, feet, and heads were constantly twisted, and then, like the previous sentry robot, they were directly scrapped, without wasting any time. Su-Yao resisted the laser and sentry robot spike attacks, dismantling the sentry robots one by one. 1 body, 2 bodies. 10 minutes later, what appeared in everyone's eyes was the sentry robot lying on the ground with missing arms and legs, all gone. The 10 terrifying sentry robots were all eliminated in this way. Whether it was the hundreds of thousands of spectators or the mutants, their faces were all filled with astonishment. This is a sentry robot, any one of it can cause headaches for mutants. As a result, 10 bodies were dismantled by this man in white. Other than the mutant messiah, is there anyone else who can deal with the sentinel robots? Where did this person come from? Why are there so many powerful mutants everywhere? Is it true that humans have no chance of winning? Another level 4 mutant. The audience who had previously gloated about the death of the weirdo in white were unwilling to believe what they saw now. X-Men, good guy. Looking at the live broadcast, Wolverine Logan praised, Professor X, Charles, Cyclops and others looked at each other in confusion. They found that they had underestimated this mutant who suddenly appeared. This kind of combat power is inconsistent with their previous evaluation, definitely a level 4 mutant. Although he is not as good as the Omega Mutant Messiah, he is definitely more powerful and has more potential than they thought. End of this chapter. Chapter 90, God of Light Panel and Divine Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 90, The Panel of the God of Light and the Body of the Gods, Brotherhood of Mutants, another mutant with extraordinary potential. Magneto. Eric admired, feeling sincerely happy that another powerful compatriot had appeared. This further proves that humans are a species that need to be eliminated, and only their mutants are the future. Thinking about this, he was a little curious. What did this man look like under the cover of his body? Was he a middle-aged and old man, or was he a very young man like the Messiah? In a luxurious villa, Iron Man Tony Stoker looked a little solemn, thinking about whether he could defeat this guy with his steel armor. After thinking for a while, he realized with some disappointment that he was probably no match for this guy at the moment. He decided that when the anti-Messiah armor was produced, he would prioritize the production of anti-Messiah armor, in the Snake S.H.I.E.L.D. Bureau. Looking at the live video, Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D., had fear and desire in his one black eye. Hydra senior executive Pierce is becoming more and more interested, and he is more and more satisfied with this future tool man. At a time when all parties had different thoughts, after Su-Yao eliminated the sentry robot, he sensed that there was still a lot of light energy left in his body and looked forward. 10 soldiers in the distance saw the failure of the sentry robot and started running away without saying a word. They knew that they were definitely not monster opponents in the distance, and even shooting would be in vain, so they directly chose to evacuate. The next second, red light spread on the street. Bang bang bang, pieces of bricks, stones and soil floated up. Then, they all flew towards the 10 soldiers who were escaping in the distance. Ah! For a time, 10 soldiers were buried in bricks and mud. Su-Yao's hands lit up with red light and he was about to fly away from here, but before he could fly away, he noticed something flying above his head. At this moment, the surroundings became quiet, and the drones became somewhat conspicuous. Hundreds of thousands of spectators saw in horror that the mysterious man in white gave them a cold look, and then his hands glowed red. There was a sound of breaking through the air, and several chaotic magic energy bullets flew over. Boom, boom, boom. The wreckage of the drone fell from the sky. Su-Yao moved, and his pure white figure quickly flew into the distance. After he disappeared for a while, someone dared to come and clean up the battlefield. While Su-Yao was flying, the importance that major forces paid to him suddenly increased a lot, and at the same time, various dark plans were also quietly being planned. Su-Yao naturally knew this, but he had no choice. When locked by the sentry robot, he could only destroy those ghosts, even if there is a greater danger approaching in the future, that will happen later. At this moment, Suyao was feeling himself and frowned slightly. At some point, a subtle murmur reached his ears, seeming to want to have a conversation with him. Suyao shook his head, and after confirming that it was not an auditory hallucination, his expression changed. Fortunately, this weird murmuring sound only lasted for a while and then disappeared. Despite this, Suyao thought a lot in an instant and even had a relatively reliable guess, the of black magic, the ancient of the underworld, S.H.I.E.L.D. His face looked a little ugly. Long time ago, he had concerns about improving chaos magic, fearing to attract the attention of the of black magic. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be true. Wanda's chaos magic is inextricably related to the god of black magic. It is said that Wanda was influenced by S.H.I.E.L.D. not long after she was born, and then she possessed chaos magic. In other words, the source of chaos magic is actually S.H.I.E.L.D., the of black magic. Of course, what we are referring to here is not chaos magic that can modify reality when combined with modification probability, but pure chaos magic. This god of the underworld bestowed chaos magic on Wanda, hoping that when the other person grows up, he can use it for him to help him break through the seal in different spaces, and even serve as a carrier for his advent. However, as Wanda grew, she was directly out of the other party's control, making her expectations and investment in vain. Of course, there is also a saying that chaos magic is innate to Wanda. S.H.I.E.L.D. is also interested in chaos magic, so he marked Wanda. Suyao looked thoughtful and his face turned very ugly. S.H.I.E.L.D., the of black magic, is much scarier than Dormammu. Corresponding to this guy is the Trinity Waishan Emperor, the god of white magic. From here we can infer some of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s strength. So, this guy is targeting me? He just wants to say one thing now: who in the family understands? I was targeted by a perverted and lewd man when I was only 16 years old. I am waiting for a solution online. Urgent. After thinking about it for a long time, Suyao could only sigh. Other than trying to improve his strength, he couldn't think of any good way. You can only work hard to improve your strength before S.H.I.E.L.D. uses his methods. When it reaches a certain level, you may have the strength to resist him. Thinking about it, he was a little speechless. He felt that the pitfall of chaos magic was a bit big. He could clearly feel that the imitated chaos magic belonged entirely to him and had nothing to do with S.H.I.E.L.D., the of black magic, but even this can attract this guy's attention. Even, in the eyes of the other party, it is estimated that at this moment, I can attract his attention and attention more than the Scarlet Witch. Suyao thought speechlessly. Half an hour later, his figure stopped in a small woods. Time passed and it soon came to evening. Suyao raised his head and glanced at the sky in the distance. Seeing the sun completely set, the urgency for strength in his heart made him couldn't help but turn his attention to the new panel. I don't know what Baldur, the god of light, is like. What will I get after increasing the unlocking progress? In curiosity and expectation, he looked at the new ability panel. Name, Suyao. Age, 16, remaining lifespan 199 days. Mutant ability, imitation, energy absorption. Current imitation target, Baldur Odinson. Title, God of Light, Son of Odin. Unlock progress 1%. Ability, unlocked. Energy points, 7963. Glancing at the remaining lifespan, Suyao was speechless. This cancer was like a tarsal maggot. He is a little confused. The amount of light energy in the body is not too much, but it is definitely not too little. How can it not cure a mere cancer? Although it is a mixture of several cancers, it is too exaggerated. Suyao was deep in thought when suddenly he remembered something and his expression changed slightly. He had some vague memories. Cancer seems to be a cosmic disease in Marvel, and it is a disease that is difficult to treat. I must have remembered it wrong, right? Suyao's mouth twitched, feeling a bit unscientific. After a while, he shook his head and didn't bother to think about it anymore. As long as you keep improving, cancer will one day be cured. His eyes looked elsewhere. Except for the unlocking progress being 1%, nothing else can be seen. You need to increase the unlocking progress to see what is special. He glanced at the remaining energy points, and in the next second, he invested 1,200 energy points towards the unlocking progress. 1% progress is a blur. Unlock progress 11%. At the same time, a prompt sounded that surprised Su-Yao. Ability, Divine Body, unlocked. Ability, Divine Body, 0 out of 100, Level 1. Just for a moment, Su-Yao felt that his whole body was covered with warmth, and unlike before, this time the change was even greater. The bone density is increasing, and the blood is gradually changing, slowly taking on a golden luster, and gradually radiating light. Muscles and skin also become firmer, some small defects gradually disappear, and the whole person evolves towards a perfect shape. However, I don't know if it's because the body of the gods is only at the first level. This change has not been completely completed, but only a little. Of course. Even so, Su-Yao felt that his body was different at this moment. I feel energetic, as if I can stay up for a long time. My strength has increased a lot, and I even have some rudimentary muscles on my body. It can be said that he gradually evolved from the fragile human body to the divine body. Ouch, what happened? Venom looked confused and was forced out. I don't know if it was due to erosion, but at this time his dark body was glowing with a faint golden light, which looked a bit funny. Venom swore that he had never seen a guy who could turn him into such a ghostly state. At this moment, he looked suspicious of life. This guy Su is indeed a monster, as those humans said, right? That he was shocked at Su-Yao's changes at this moment, but also full of doubts, not understanding what strange thing happened to him. My body. Su-Yao raised his right palm and pinched his left arm. He could feel that the toughness and density of his body had improved a lot. To put it simply, his defense had become much higher. The body of the gods. Su-Yao murmured secretly. After testing, he found that although he was only at the first level, the defense power of his skin was already close to that of a creature such as a cow, and his strength was also approaching. To describe it vividly, it is a humanoid beast. It can be said that the divine body makes up for many of his shortcomings. Just like before, if he didn't pay attention, he might be killed by a bullet. The main target is a weak body. Now, as the body of the gods gradually improves, he can make up for the frailty of his body and become a perfect hexagonal fighter. Mage? It's only 11%, but you actually have the body of a god. I don't know what will happen next. Su Yaoyuan showed her expectation. Not to mention other things, the most important divine power will definitely be awakened after this. Having divine power and not having divine power are two different concepts. I just don't know what percentage it will be. Su Yao thought expectantly, glancing at the remaining energy points. He couldn't wait to join them all. Unlock progress 34%. For a while, nothing happened. Su Yao was a little disappointed, but he had no choice but to wait until dawn. After that, while running away, he tried to improve the body of the gods. He discovered that by running some newly born power in the body, possibly blood, the experience of the divine body would gradually increase. God's body experience +1. God's body experience +1. While hiding, Su Yao also noticed that news about Iron Man Tony Stark was being played in a square. Based on the information, he speculated that it is already after the plot of Iron Man 2. Shaked his head. Without thinking much, he concentrated on improving the body of the gods. God's body experience +1. Ability, Divine Body, 235/500, Level 2. The next night, Su Yao was practicing the body of the gods and feeling the changes in his body. In the dark night, in the distant sky, a bright beam of light fell from the sky. It seems like something has come to the earth. Looking up at this scene from a distance, Su Yao was startled and murmured to himself, Thunder God. Thank you for the tip. The last chapter today is quite long. I will update it tomorrow. End of this chapter.